You open your eyes. For the very first time inside a cramped glass incubation, pod filled with strange warm liquid. Red warning lights flash overhead, while alarms beep constantly somewhere in the distance. Around you are hundreds of other pods, each containing another screaming Saiyan, infant kicking violently against the glass walls. Congratulations. You were born on Planet Vegeta, which means your life is going to be horrible. Unlike most species in the universe, Saiyans don't really believe in things like childhood, parenting, or emotional support. The second you are born, your power level is scanned by military scientists, who immediately decide how valuable your life will be. A machine lowers toward your pod and displays your combat rating. The scientist, reading it, sighs. Low class. Not elite. Not gifted. Just another disposable soldier for the Saiyan army. A nearby scientist barely even looks at you before stamping your file and moving on to the next baby. That is how little your existence matters here. Your entire future has already been decided less than 5 minutes after birth. And unfortunately for you, Saiyan society absolutely loves hierarchy. The strongest warriors live like celebrities. They receive advanced combat training, respect, luxury housing, and positions of power. Meanwhile, low-class Saiyans, like you, are treated more like ammunition than actual people. The pod finally opens, and you are dragged into a giant nursery filled with dozens of other infants, already fighting each other. One baby is literally biting another baby's ear off, while scientists casually observe and take notes like this is completely normal behavior. No one stops the fight. In fact, one scientist actually seems impressed, because on Planet Vegeta, aggression is considered healthy development. As you grow older, life doesn't improve much. You quickly realize Saiyan culture revolves around exactly two things: power and violence. If you are strong, people respect you. If you are weak, you are ignored at best and beaten half to death at worst. Unfortunately, your power level remains embarrassingly average. The elite children constantly mock you during training exercises. They throw you into walls, blast you with energy attacks while you are distracted, and laugh every time you fail to keep up. Teachers never intervene, because technically the stronger students are simply proving their superiority, which means the system is functioning perfectly. Every single day feels like surviving a prison riot. You wake up before sunrise for combat drills that last hours. You spar against opponents twice your size. You train until your muscles tear apart and your bones feel like they're collapsing under your skin. Broken ribs are treated like mild inconveniences here. One instructor tells your class that pain is the greatest teacher in the universe. Considering several children disappear after training accidents every month, apparently, death is the second greatest teacher. And slowly, something inside you changes. At first, the violence horrifies you. You feel sick, watching classmates carried away unconscious after brutal sparring matches. But eventually, you stop reacting altogether. One day, another student gets his arm shattered during combat training, and everyone nearby just keeps eating lunch, like nothing happened, including you. Because if you show weakness or sympathy, people start targeting you next. That is how Saiyan society survives, by turning cruelty into normal behavior. As the years pass, you begin learning more about your species. Saiyans conquer planets for a living. Entire civilizations are exterminated so their worlds can be sold across the galaxy for profit. You are taught that weaker species exist solely to serve stronger ones. And according to Saiyan philosophy, if a civilization loses a war, they deserved it. Simple as that. Your instructors show recordings of conquered worlds during military education. Cities burning, alien armies being vaporized. Refugees running through collapsing streets, while Saiyan warriors laugh in the background. Everyone else in class thinks it is inspiring. You mostly just try not to think about it too hard, but eventually you notice something strange. Despite acting like the ultimate warriors of the universe, adult Saiyans become very quiet whenever a certain name gets mentioned. Frieza. At first, you don't understand why. Saiyans fear nobody. That is literally their whole personality. Your species practically worships combat and mocks weakness constantly. Then one day, Frieza's soldiers arrive on Planet Vegeta, and suddenly everyone changes. Saiyan officers, who normally scream at subordinates, now speak carefully and avoid eye contact. Elite warriors, who brag constantly about being unstoppable, suddenly become tense whenever Frieza's men walk nearby. Then, you witness why. A Saiyan commander argues with one of Frieza's officers. During a military inspection, the Saiyan gets angry and threatens him. Huge mistake. Without even looking concerned, Frieza's soldier casually punches straight through the Saiyan's chest. Blood sprays across the hallway. The commander collapses dead instantly. Nobody fights back. Nobody even moves. That is the moment you realize the horrifying truth. The Saiyan race is terrified, not of battle, not of death, of Frieza. Because Frieza is stronger than your entire species combined. At age 8, you are finally assigned your first planetary mission. Saiyans mature much faster than humans, so congratulations. Old enough to participate in genocide. You and several other low-class warriors are launched toward a primitive alien planet in cramped attack pods. During the journey, your squad leader casually explains the mission objectives. Kill the population. Destroy resistance forces. Prepare the world for resale. That is it. No politics. No diplomacy. Just mass murder for profit. When your pod crashes into the planet's surface, you step outside and immediately realize something feels wrong. The planet is beautiful. Forests stretch across massive mountains. Cities glow peacefully in the distance. Families walk through crowded streets, completely unaware of what is about to happen to them. For a brief second, you hesitate. Then your squad leader vaporizes an entire apartment building with one energy blast. The screaming starts immediately. Panic spreads through the city as explosions rip apart entire blocks. Alien civilians run through burning streets, carrying children, while Saiyan warriors casually hunt them from the sky, like it is a sport. You try convincing yourself these people are enemies. That is what you've been taught your whole life. Weak species deserve conquest. Mercy is pathetic. Saiyans are naturally superior. But watching terrified civilians burn alive makes those lessons a little harder to believe. Unfortunately, you barely have time to think about morality. Because you are terrible at combat, your power level is still painfully mediocre. During the invasion, a resistance fighter shoots you directly in the shoulder with an energy weapon. The blast sends you crashing through a wall, while nearby Saiyans laugh hysterically. One teammate calls you embarrassing. Another asks if you are secretly part human because apparently surviving longer than 5 minutes without getting injured is considered suspiciously impressive for you. Thankfully, your squad leader destroys the resistance forces before you get yourself killed completely. Barely surviving your first mission earns you something interesting though. A Zenkai boost. Saiyan biology has a unique evolutionary trait where surviving near-death experiences makes you permanently stronger afterward. Sounds awesome, in theory. In reality, it means your entire species evolved around suffering. Pain. Literally improves you which explains why Saiyans constantly throw themselves into horrific battles, hoping to grow stronger afterward. And honestly, that is deeply concerning from a psychological perspective. You are still nowhere near the royal bloodlines or gifted prodigies. You slowly become stronger, but at least other soldiers, not elite, level strong, openly mocking you obviously during every conversation. Mostly. Then one night, during a planetary invasion, you experience the single most horrifying aspect of Saiyan biology. The full moon rises overhead. At first, nothing seems unusual. Then one of your teammates suddenly starts screaming. His body expands violently, as bones crack beneath his skin. Fur bursts across his arms, while his face stretches outward into something monstrous. Within seconds, he is transformed into a gigantic ape creature, taller than entire buildings. The monster roars, great ape, loud enough to shake the city beneath it before immediately crushing several buildings underfoot, including one containing Saiyan soldiers. Because great apes don't care who gets crushed. Then you feel it too. Your body begins changing. The pain is unbearable. Your spine twists violently, while your muscles expand beyond anything your skeleton should realistically support. Armor tears apart, as thick brown fur erupts across your skin. Seconds later, you tower over the city as another giant monster driven almost entirely by rage. And the worst part, you love it. Everything suddenly feels fragile beneath you. Tiny, weak tanks become toys. Buildings collapse with single swings of your arms. Thousands of civilians die around you, while your brain drowns beneath overwhelming aggression. And you can't even remember what happened, destroying afterward. Most of it. When you finally return to normal hours later, a terrifying realization hits you. Frieza isn't afraid. Remember destroying most of it. Because Saiyans are powerful. He is afraid because your species is fundamentally unstable. And honestly, he is probably right. Years pass in endless cycles of violence. Planet after planet falls beneath Saiyan invasions. Entire civilizations vanish, while your species grows richer and stronger from conquest. But despite all the power around you, most Saiyans seem miserable. Nobody trusts each other. Elite warriors constantly bully lower-class soldiers. Teammates abandon injured allies during missions because weakness is considered contagious. Parents rarely interact with offspring unless the child shows exceptional combat potential. Emotional attachment is viewed as weakness, which creates an entire civilization emotionally incapable of processing anything in a healthy way. Eventually, rumors begin spreading across Planet Vegeta. Frieza has become paranoid. Some claim he fears an ancient legend known as the Super Saiyan, a warrior powerful enough to overthrow him someday. Most Saiyans dismiss the story as mythology, but the atmosphere changes quickly. Frieza's forces increase surveillance across the planet. Military meetings become secretive. Elite commanders suddenly look nervous during public appearances. For the first time in your life, you witness powerful Saiyans acting genuinely afraid. Then Bardock returns from a mission, battle-damaged and furious. He starts warning everyone that Frieza plans to destroy Planet Vegeta entirely. According to him, Frieza sees Saiyans as a growing threat and wants to eliminate the species.